Katie, the Celestial Homebody. I hope you're all having a wonderful week and had a good Easter. It is still Easter for me today. We actually just got back from my mom's. Celeste got to do her first egg hunt and it was adorable. We of course didn't put candy in the eggs because she's 17 months old, but we put little like animal crackers in them, and her attention span to do an egg hunt was actually better than expected, but she just kept wanting to open the eggs and shove all the animal crackers in her mouth. And we're like, no, look for the eggs first and then we'll open them later. But she had a great time and it was adorable. You know, if you're a parent, you know, like the first like holiday where they're not just larvae is very exciting. You know, like last Easter, she was just like, huh? I don't know where I am. But now she's like walking and talking and makes my heart so full. Anyways, I hope you're all having a good start to your week. I had a really good week. It was my last week of freedom because tomorrow I gotta wake up bright and early to start my first day of my big girl job, working 45 hours a week at my desk, which not super excited about, but it'll be good. I'm grateful for the ability to be able to work. But yeah, I really made the most of my last week, and in front of me here, I have my entire, you guys know how big my desk is? Almost my entire desk is full of plushies. Because it was my last week of freedom, I really pushed myself to be productive. I made 65 plushies this week. Yes, a lot of them are small, but there are a couple good sized ones. And if you know me, you know that there are 3 things that I hate crocheting. That is sea turtles, car swings, and clothing. And you want to know what I made this week? Sea turtles, car swings, and clothing. Maybe I was taken over by some sort of crochet demon. I don't know, but it's very out of character for me. And I finally hopped on the car swing bandwagon. So I made 30 car swings, I believe. So of those 65, 30 of them are car swings, which is more than what I thought I would make, but I just got in the groove of making them. So I'll show you these first. Ryan and I finally finished the live action One Piece, so that's what I was watching as I was making these. I also watched Interstellar again, and it's been years since I've seen that movie, and it hits so different once you're a parent, and I bawled like a baby during that movie, but it was a good 3 hours, because that's a very long movie. Good 3 hours of me just cranking out car swings. So let me show you what I made. I made some more traditional ones, if you will. You know, the average little critters that everybody makes. But then I also did a few not so average critters. I'll show you the average ones first, since you've probably seen most of them. So the first set that I did were these little bees. Now I will say that I freehanded all of the car swings that you're going to see today. I freehanded every single one. I do not have a pattern pack or pattern individual to share with you. However, I do know that a lot of people love the All From Jade car swings. I will go ahead and link that for you in case you have not seen them and are interested in the car swing pattern. I do not have that pattern pack personally, but I've heard a lot of really good things about it. I just didn't want to spend money on more patterns, to be honest with you. So this week I really tried to do just what I had, free patterns or freehand them. So all of the car swings are free-handed. So this was the first little bee that I did, and I put his little antenna too close together. So I made sure that the next 2 times that I did a bee to put the antenna a little bit farther back. I just surface there's fluff all over these. I surface crocheted the wings, and I really like the shape of them, how they turned out on all of these guys. Oh my gosh, you guys, this shedding. Okay, I used Parfait Chunky for all of these swings today. And when I tell you that I was covered from head to toe, all the crevices, all the holes were full of fluff. It was awful. I was wearing a white shirt. I was wearing a merch shirt, actually. That it's my logo. It's the house on the moon. It says Homebody, but I have the white variant in it, and I got it in like a super big size because I wear that as a PJ shirt. But I was wearing white and working with all this colorful yarn. When I stood up, it looked like a clown had vomited all over my shirt with how colorful and speckly it was. It was crazy. And then I was picking it off and lint rolling, and just, it was not fun. It's been a long time since I've worked with Parfait Chunky, and the reason that I chose to for these is because I needed them to be small, you know, because they're the little critters on swings. So I didn't want to go in with my 6.5 millimeter hook and, I don't know, a chenille brights or something and have them come out massive and then block the entire windshield. We wanted them to be nice and petite. It's also worth mentioning that if you're interested in making car swings to sell, maybe check with your state's regulations on hanging things from your rear view mirror. Some states it's legal, some states it's not. Some states it's kind of a legal gray area. Where I live, it leans toward legal gray area, but more often than not, it's fine unless it obstructs like half the windshield. So check with your local legislation on that. Look at me using a big word, legislation. Anyways, so I didn't want them to be too large, so I busted out every single color of Parfait Chunky that I have, which is not much. I got rid of a bunch of it when I was redoing my yarn storage here in the office, and I got rid of pretty much all of my multiple balls, so I only have one skein of each color left, with the exception of the Goblin Green, because that's a very unique, pretty shade of green. I kept 2 skeins of it, and I'm glad that I did, because I went through a lot of it making some of these, but I forgot how not fun it is to work with this yarn. The Premier Basic Chenille Brights is some of the best yarn. It's so, well, if you get good quality, that is. Because, you know, every yarn brand is going to have some batches that are better quality than others in terms of softness versus stiffness, color, all that stuff. If you get a nice skein of even Parfait Chunky, but comparing that to the Basics Brights, the Brights is just so much more luxurious to work with. I do like the way that Parfait Chunky looks because it's a lot smoother. Like, as you can tell, it's very smooth. This is Chenille Brights. It's more of a blanket texture. This Parfait Chunky is a lot smoother. So I do like it visually, but the shedding is crazy. And I feel like it's the same thing with the Chenille Home Slim and Sweet Snuggles Light, where there's a trade-off, because either you get a very soft, silky skein that's like, oh, it's like buttery smooth to work with, but it sheds off the string just by looking at it, or you get a starchy, stiff skein that doesn't shed, but it leaves a residue on your hands. I feel like there's very few times where you get that perfect in between, and with every single skein of Parfait Chunky that I had left, it was one or the other. Like, the Goblin Green that I had was nasty, but like the white and the black was so silky smooth, but I could just think about it shedding and it would shed, and it was a nightmare, especially for these little tiny things, because I'm working with such a small plushie and I'm trying to like sew the hole closed and it's shedding all over the place, and it was just like, it was piquing my anxiety. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. So I'm happy to get rid of some of it, but I still have a lot of Parfait Chunky to go through. Anyways, I'm talking a lot about yarn today. I mean, what can I say? I'm a crocheter. Yarn is always on the mind. So I did 3 little bees. I gave them all different color swings because, I don't know, maybe somebody will want their favorite color swing. I should probably, hang on, I'm going to grab a bag to put these in. I'm going to put these in a grocery bag inside my market bag, so that way I keep all the swings together. Then that way, when I go to set up and hang them all up at market, they're all going to be in one place instead of me having to ruffle through the body bags. That's going to be smart. Look at me thinking ahead and helping out future Katie and Ryan. We'll use a good old Walmart bag. All right, 3 bees. Then I wanted to make some little cows, but the first couple that I made ended up being way too small. So these are the cows that I freehanded, and they are adorable, but they are just way too small. When I compared them to the bees that I had made, I was like, these are too little. So Ryan put keychains on them for me like he does with a lot of his makes, and we're just going to sell them as little cow keychains. And then I did go back and make 2 swinging cows. So they are a little bit bigger, but I did more or less the same thing. But look at how itty bitty the first ones are that I made. They're so tiny. So I ended up making 2. I made one with a blue swing and then one with a mint colored swing. I was going to do pink for the cow, but then I was like, I don't know. I feel like it's too matchy with the little muzzle there. This one's eyes, I don't know, something about the eyes on this one are very cute. Oh, speaking of eyes, I forgot to tell you, today is going to be the showcase of the April drop for my hand-painted safety eyes. And this might be the last drop for a couple of months because I'm starting work soon tomorrow. I don't know how much time I'm going to have to actually sit down and operate my, hand-painted safety eye business because it's very time consuming to do, and I'm going to be working 45 hours a week at my other job, so we may or may not miss next month's drop for May. If we do have a drop in May, it's going to be very small. So I went crazy for this month, April's drop. We have my favorite eyes, like multiples of my favorite eyes, like that I've ever done, and I'm very excited to show them to you. But for right now, we got to stick with crochet. I just wanted to tell you that before I forget. But anyways, we've got some cows. Then I did some frogs, and by some, I mean a lot of frogs, because people really like frogs. So I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 frogs. This is that goblin green color that was awful to work with, but gosh, it's so pretty. Also, this is a chonky frog. This was the very first one that I did, and he turned out very cute, but he is quite large, so I altered it a little bit to be not as big for the following ones. Again, I did different color swings, although I did 2 of them. Oh, they're all tangled here. I did 2 of them in this rainbow yarn. This is Amazon chenille. Highly recommend this yarn. I have it linked on my Amazon storefront under the category yarn and tools or yarn and things. I forgot what I named it, but it is just really, really silky, smooth, soft. I like using it for unicorn hair because it's rainbow color changing, and I have never seen another yarn brand do all of the primary colors besides Big Twist Plush in the color Crayon Box. Very similar to this like colorway with the primary rainbow colors, but of course it's super duper thick plush yarn. This is great for the swings, great for hair on mythical creatures and whatnot, so highly recommend. Very soft too. So we did lots of frogs, and these were, amongst the easiest to make because they're pretty much just a ball with knobs. And I did little smiley faces on all of them. I was contemplating doing a smug face, like a frowny face, but then giving it happy eyebrows so he kind of looks like smug. But I decided not to because I do that with my chicken nuggets, which I need to restock, by the way, before my conventions. But I did that with chicken nuggets where I gave some of them happy faces, the majority of them happy faces, and then I made like 2 angry, and I thought that the angry ones were hilarious, and I thought that those would be the first to go, and they were not. Those were some of the last to go, so I don't know if people like the angry. I think that it makes them funny looking, but I just went on the safe side and decided to make them all happy frogs. Then I did a penguin, only one. This is Naughty Pony yarn. It is a beautiful, like, royal blue color, and I only had a little tiny bit of it left, so I made this penguin out of it, and I did lose yarn chicken, so I had to close with white on the bottom, but it's fine, you can't tell, and I literally had just enough of this scrap to do a little penguin, although the penguin did turn out slightly smaller than the others because I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna have enough, so I didn't increase as much as the other ones, but I gave the penguin a little mint green swing. Oh yeah, also, I don't know if it's just because I'm inexperienced making swings, that's probably the case, but mine don't always sit like perfectly. I sometimes have to tack into the sides of their head so that way they sit, otherwise they flop forward or back. But like I said, I didn't follow a pattern for the swings. I was just winging it and kind of learning as I went. I did make the mistake. So at first I was like, I'll batch make these, right? So I'll make a bunch of frogs, for example, and then go back and do all the swings later. So that's exactly what I did, but I made them not thinking about how I was going to attach the swing to the arms to make it look like their arms were holding on. So as I made the little ball, like on this one, I gave it wings in just the little body. I gave all the frogs baubles for arms, and then I went to do the swing and I was like, oh, I think I'm supposed to crochet over the swing to do the arms so it looks like they're holding on. And so I unfortunately figured that out rather, after I had already put all the work in to do most of these. So then I had to go through and delicately embroider with Parfait Chunky over all of the bobble stitches around the swing. So number one, it doesn't look as good. It was also incredibly time consuming. It ended up taking me about 15 minutes extra per swing to do it with that method. So if you've never done the swings before, learn from my mistakes. Do not, if you want to batch make them, do that, but don't give them arms. Wait until you're going to put the swing on and then crochet over the swing. For this little penguin, since I gave him little flipper fin side arms instead of bobbles, I just tacked it to the head so that it kind of looks like he's holding on, but they're not wrapping around the swing, if that makes sense. But speaking of birds, I also did a mallard, and I gave him a black swing because I wasn't sure what color went well with the mallard. But I used goblin green for the head, and then whatever this brown color is. It's one that they've had for a long time because I've had this for well over a year and a half now. Chocolate maybe. But I just decided black was a good swing color for him. I don't know. I felt like it was classy. Okay, getting into the slightly, little bit more obscure ones that you don't see a ton of people do is I did a flower, and I was planning on doing more of these, but I absolutely hated the way that it turned out. So I only did the one, but he has a little body. And I used that same rainbow chenille for the petals, but I put his face too low. I had done the face before I did the petals, and then I was like, he's got a huge forehead. He has like a 5 head going on. And also, you know how sometimes when you pop in safety eyes, the stitches pucker in a way that makes them look angry? That's what this one looks like. Like, do you see how this stitch kind of like, I don't know, it like jets down and it gives him an angry face. Also, the eyes are a little lopsided, and so is the mouth. So he's looking very much so like a stroke patient, and he has a huge forehead. So I'm willing to try the flower again, but of course this was the first one that I did, and I was learning as I was going. So next time I do this, I'll make sure to put the face higher. I think that it would look a lot cuter. I'm also going to change the way that I do the petals. It's all surface crocheted, but I'm going to change the way that I do the petals so that it, I don't know, down here they're bunching, but up here they're really spread out. I didn't do anything different surface crocheting for each one, but I think just nature of where I put my hook into the stitches, like I bunch these up and then spread these out too far. So yeah, you live and learn, right? The next one that's a little bit more obscure and also out of season is I did a ghost. No, it is nowhere near spooky season, but I feel like people in general like ghosts, and I wanted to use an orange swing, so I thought that this would be cute. I did embroider some blush on him. This is not Parfait Chunky. This is actually the, I almost just said Victoria's Secret Velvet. That is not what it is at all. It is the... What is that called? They used to sell it at Joann's. It was like the Velvet Chenille. It's by the celebrity lady, Paris Hilton. It's not Paris Hilton. I cannot think of it. Juicy Couture. That's it. It's Juicy Couture yarn. In the color Angel, I believe. I used the same size hook that I did with all the other ones with Parfait Chunky, but I didn't realize how much smaller this Juicy Couture yarn is because I have some holes in it, which I'm not a fan of. My tension was the same, my hook size was the same. Visually looking at the two yarns, I'm like, those are the same size. And I swear I've used them together in the past, but I don't know. It was a little too small for my 5mm hook. So he's a little holy, but I don't know. It's okay. I only did one ghost because it's more of a niche thing when it's out of season. Oh, I see the baby in the window. How much is that baby in the window? Ah, she's not for sale. We like her. I think we'll keep her around. Anyway, so only one little ghosty. And then this one is also a little more uncommon. I don't see a ton of people do jellyfish on swing, so I did a little jellyfish. This one I only made one of because of the amount of time that it takes to do the tentacles. And although these are short, it still takes a lot of time. Anybody else incredibly slow crocheting into the chain, man? Yeah, my speed just goes out the window when I'm trying to crochet into the chain. So obviously I could do less little tentacles. I could just do 3, but I wanted to do multicolor to give him a little more dimension. So I decided to do purple and mint with a dark teal body and then a coral color swing. And I really like this color combo, but this is one of a kind. There is only one like him. Maybe I'll do more in the future, but probably unlikely. But I have a feeling this is going to be one of the first to sell. People love jellyfish, and you don't see jellyfish on swing often. Okay, now getting into the definitely more obscure things is I did 2 fat Pikachus on a swing. So this looks very similar to Naughty Nat's Chonkymon pattern. I did not use the Chonkymon pattern. I just freehanded the shape of it, but I think that you could absolutely use the Chonkymon patterns in Parfait Chunky in a small hook and put them on swings. Why not? Yeah, I mean, this definitely looks like it could be her Pikachu pattern, but I don't know. I don't know how many stitches are in the Pikachu pattern. It's been a year since I've made the Chonkymon. I don't know if mine has more or less stitches in the round than that one does. So you might need to alter the Chonkymon slightly to not increase as much so that they'd fit on swings. But in terms of all of their little accessories, like their ears and tails and everything, you might be able to get them to work on swings. And I feel like that's a little bit more interesting than just the Chonkymon by themselves. Although I do think that it's good to have both, because not everybody wants a swing for their car, and not everybody puts the swings in their car. I feel like you could easily put this on like your purse or your bag, you know, do that thing where you like slip it through and bing, bang, boom, you got yourself a purse charm or a backpack buddy. But I decided to do 2 Pikachu, and I wanted to do more critters, pocket monsters, but I decided just to leave it at the 2 for now. But then I did something incredibly obscure, and if you know who these are, then I want you to leave a comment and let me know if you know who these are. And if you don't, That's okay, I forgive you. I won't put you in timeout. These are the next ones that I did. You know who they are? These are Pikmin. These are they're from a game franchise, but I, again, freehanded these, and I did one with yellow with the bloomed flower. I did one in red with a leaf, and the red Pikmin have pointy little noses, so I did that on him. They look like they have little peanut bodies. They're actually very cute. I should write this pattern down so I can replicate it for the next time. And then I also did a blue with a leaf. There's another type of Pikmin that has like a bulb on it, but I just decided to do the leaf because I really like the way that the leaf turned out with the red, so I did the blue with the leaf as well, with a red swing. The blue's got kind of a floppy leaf, but there you go. If you position it and play with it, then it stays where you want it to go. Okay, speaking of me writing patterns, because I know that I'm going to get questions or comments about if I'll be writing a pattern for these things. The answer is no. For the everyday swings that I showed you at the beginning, I'm not going to write a pattern for that because there's a million of them out there that do the job just, you know, perfectly. I don't need to improve on them at all. I feel like my inspiration for writing patterns is because I want to do something that I have, like, that I want, but I don't see in another pattern. Like, my inspiration behind writing Nyx the Dragon was I wanted a quick market make baby dragon, but all the ones that I tried did not fit my criteria in terms of material usage, look, size, time usage, that good stuff. So I could write a pattern for these guys, I suppose, but allow me to go on a little bit of a tangent here. So first and foremost, we are officially going to Indiana Comic-Con 2026. Yippee. Finally heard back from the organizer. We got it all worked out. I submitted my very hefty booth fee to them. So we are officially in for both PopCon and Comic-Con. Those dates are on my Instagram. I'll post my dates as well on the YouTube community page if you're interested in any of my events. Those are the only two paid events that I'm doing this year. Every other event that I'm going to be at is going to be free. If you're in the Indiana area and want to come say hi, I would love that. But anyways, so we got into Comic-Con. So my inspiration, or not my inspiration, my motivation for doing some of these swings is for the convention crowd, right? So of course we got to do the nerdy stuff. But I was going back and watching my 2025 Comic-Con vlog, one of the most viewed videos on the channel. I think it's like number 2 most viewed on the channel at like 80,000 views, which is a lot for a small channel like mine, you know, who doesn't average that many views per video, right? So I was looking back at that and taking notes about what sold really well, what didn't sell as well as I thought that it would, what I needed to make more of, the quantities that I wanted to make more of. And I'm glad that I did watch it because I remembered a lot of stuff that I had forgotten because we've done a lot of events since then. Like, I didn't remember the chicken nuggets selling so well because at all my other events, they did not sell that well, but at Comic-Con, they flew. And I don't know if it had to do with booth location or just the chicken nuggets in general, but at $10 a pop, which is a great bang for your buck for making those, they were flying. So I'm happy that I went back and watched that, but it also reminded me of some things. And I promise there's a point to me telling you all of this. I told you I'm going to go on a rambling rant here. So at Comic-Con in 2025, my channel was getting about 6 to 10,000 views per this week's makes. As I was ramping up for the convention markets, I was showing off, of course, everything that I had made for those conventions in my this week's makes. And those videos were performing really, really well. And then in July, the algorithm changed and I was put in algorithm jail and people were getting unsubscribed and YouTube was glitching. Yeah, we don't need to rehash that. But my point is that the channel was doing fairly well then, and I was showing off everything that I was making for conventions. And then at Comic-Con, there was another crochet artist there who had a near identical, not layout, like the booth visually looked different, but the items that they had were near identical to mine, down to the modifications that I had made on certain patterns, down to the yarn that I used, like even like obscure yarns. Like at the time, Elise Voluto was not as big as it was now. I had just gotten into using Elise Voluto, and like down to the yarn usage, the modifications that I had made on the pattern, I would say like 90% of that crochet artist's booth was the exact same things that I was selling. And I was thinking all that in my head, but in the video, I didn't tell you guys all of that information. All I said was kind of a generalized statement that there was another crocheter there who had very similar merchandise to me. And I thought that that was interesting and very much so a coincidence. That's where I left it. One of the comments said, "It really rubs me the wrong way how conceited and self-absorbed you are, that you would think that somebody would be copying you, because you absolutely do not have a big enough channel to have people be copying you." That's how their voice sounds in my head. Did you see that neck roll attitude? And I was thinking about that and reflecting on all of the other events that I did last year. And I will have you know that at every single market event that I did in 2025, including my little tiny small town, hometown, rural Indiana Fall Festival Market, every single one, there was at least one other crochet artist who was selling there who watched the channel. So that comment was just like put to rest right there. Like it is completely valid for me to have jumped to a conclusion about them perhaps, I don't even want to say being inspired by me, because they were straight up copying. And so I'm telling you all of this because this leads me to, in the upcoming weeks, months, I'm going to be writing a lot of patterns that are just for me, because I don't know, this is one of the downsides, I guess, to being both a pattern designer and a vendor, crochet vendor, is I don't have anything that's just mine. Because like my Nyx the Dragon pattern, like I want to bring an entire wall of baby dragons to the conventions. I think that it would look so cool to have a whole wall of them for like a photo opportunity, to have them all in the background. And it would just be like a statement piece, especially for Comic-Con, because I have a 10 by 10 booth. So I'm going to have room to do that. But then I'm like, that's a very good selling pattern, which I'm grateful for, but there's a very high possibility that there's going to be other crochet sellers there that are using my exact chicken pattern in the exact colors that I recommend to you, or selling my dragon pattern, you know? And I always wondered why some pattern designers put a clause, I guess you could call it, into their patterns that say you are not able to sell what you made from this pattern. And I never understood that, because I'm like, they made it. They should have every right to sell it. But I guess this would be one case where I'm like, I guess I kind of see why, but I don't know. I was just kind of thinking about, like, I feel like I kind of have the right to gatekeep some of my stuff. And I know that that's going to rub some of you the wrong way. Some of you, I'm sure, will agree with me. I mean, I don't think that there's any business who doesn't gatekeep to some extent. Like, you don't see Colonel Sanders, if he wasn't dead, God rest his soul, screaming from the rooftops what his 11 herbs and spices are. It's 11, right? 12? How many herbs and spices are there? I don't even remember. But the point is that it's a secret to that company that makes that company unique, right? And in a world where there's such a competitive market for crochet because there's so many people doing it now, which is fantastic. I love that. I feel like you kind of got to do things that make you stand out a little bit, right? And I think that every crocheter in an aspect is competing with one another, but you guys know me. If you've been around the channel for a while and have watched my market vlogs, you know that I love seeing other crocheters at events, unless the percentage of crocheters per booth is too high, because then it just looks bad, right? Like at the Ren Fair. Yeah, but you know, at Comic-Con where there's hundreds of booths, if there's 5 crocheters there, that's fine. I see it as an opportunity to go make some friends for people who love the same things that I do, who live in my area, maybe make some friends out of it. I don't see them as competition because we're selling different things for the most part, until they're selling my exact things, and then it becomes a direct competition. Now, some of you are probably going to hate me for saying this, but I feel like I should explain myself as to why you're not going to see some patterns from me for a little bit, is because, you know, there might be a couple that I put out there, but for things like this, this is just a little me thing. And sure, other crocheters there might have Pikmin on a swing, and that's fine. But I know for a fact that it's not going to be my exact pattern, right? Does that make sense? It's going to look a little bit different. And then the customer can choose which one they like better, who they want to support based on a variety of things, you know? So that was a whole rant. Anyways, I'm going to get back to showing you what I made, because I'm sure some of you are just like hitting that fast forward button. So with all of that being said, here's the next swing that I made. So you guys know I've been obsessed with Pokopia, and this is a reference to that game. So in the game, you can go to a dream island, and Drifloon, who's this top Pokemon here, he's like a balloon. He carries you, and you are a Ditto, this little guy down here. He carries you to the dream island, and in the loading screen, the Drifloon and the Ditto are flying like this. And there's this cute little song on a recorder that plays that goes like, do 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 do. That was my reenactment of the loading screen in Pokopia. So I thought that this was kind of a fun, more niche swing. And I think it's really cute. I really do. I do want to make some changes when I make more, because I only made the one. Specifically, I need to make Ditto just a tiny bit bigger because I really struggle to get a face on him. Or I need to make Drifloon's hands a little bit smaller or sew them behind. This is a very sewing heavy swing, but I think it's worth it because I mean, like, are you kidding me? I love it. It's cute. I would definitely buy this if I were to see it at a convention, and I kind of want to make one for myself. Not going to lie. So there they are. Oh, look, they're dancing, getting jiggy with it. So that was all the car swings. We are already like 40 minutes into this video, and I still have lots to show you. These next few things I can fly through because you've seen them before, and I kind of already gave you a sneak peek when I held it up. I made 5 little Perry. I freehand these as well. This one is extra girthy. I used to follow a free tutorial or a free pattern on Ribbler for my little guys here, but I ended up just changing a lot about them, so I just jotted down what I do differently and follow that now. But there are free platypus patterns on Ribbler, just so you know. That's where I started. So I made 5. Normally I also make little hats for them. I did not do that this week because I didn't have any brown out in the house, so I need to make some little hats for them because I like to have those detached. Let's throw those into their body bag. Speaking of Nyx the Dragon, I made another So I had a little bit of this yarn left over. This is a tie-dye yarn from Premier Bright's Kaleidoscope, maybe is the color shade name of this. But it's got really pretty jewel tones in it. And then I decided to pair it with kind of another variegated, which I don't do often. I don't know if you'd consider this burnout frosting variegated. I do, but it's a very, very light variation to it. It's got a little bit of blue in it, a little bit of gray. Because it wasn't so like crazy stark of a variation, I thought that it went. So we only made one little nix just because I wanted to get rid of this yarn. And like I said, I'm going to have an entire wall of baby dragons at the conventions, and it's going to be so much fun to see all of them. I want to put them all wings out to see them all and to take a picture in front of them. It's going to be a good time. Also, speaking of my patterns, I made some more chickens, but this is a color that I've never used before. So I was actually just taking inventory stock of all of my inventory for my 2026 market season. Of course, I'll make more throughout the year, but what I'm starting with, since my first market of the year is coming up in a few weeks here, 3 weeks, I believe, 3 or 4 weeks, very soon. Actually, no, it's a little later than that. It's the end of May. What am I thinking? I've got time. I still have time. But anyways, I recorded me going through all of my inventory. You're going to see that video in a few weeks on Monday. But I was taking inventory of all my chickens, and I'm like, I have quite a few chickens, but I don't have any, like, I don't know, of this color. This is Burnout Blanket in the speckled, and I've seen people make like the Mabel chickens with this yarn before, but I've never made my chicken with this yarn before. So that is what I did, and I just crocheted with it until I ran out. I had used this yarn on something else before. What did I use this on? I don't remember, but I used it on something else, so I only had a partial skein. So I just made as many chickens as I could get out of what I had left, and I ended up making 4 speckled chickens. I feel like this is a really good colorway for the people who want a more realistic chicken. I mean, I do like white and black and brown, which are also realistic, but something about the speckle makes it look extra realistic, doesn't it? I mean, it's meant to look like a cartoon chicken. It's obviously not, doesn't have wings or anything like that, but you could put wings on it if you wanted to. But anyways, I did 4 of my Stardew Valley chickens. Oh gosh, I forgot I have more car swings to show you. They were hiding back here. Okay, another slightly more obscure one. And when I say obscure, I just mean like it's not the generic animals that you see everybody do, you know, the frogs, the ducks, the axolotl, whatever. So I did a couple of Kirby's and gave them all different swings. I think I like the white swing. That one's very classy. This one I gave the rainbow swing. But yeah, I ended up doing 5. Yes. 5 swinging Kirby's. I was going to say, after I finished showing you guys all of the swings, I'm like, I feel like that was not 30. This is why, because I still had more. This one is definitely a generic swing critter that everybody does. This is a chicken, but I did put blush on them, because you guys know how I love to blush up my plushies. I like to blush and I like to bedazzle. So I made 3 chicken swings. Okay, I think that was officially all of the swings. But then I made something else that I normally hate making, and I went crazy making these. And I made a bunch of sea turtles. So this is the Myrtle the Turtle pattern, which I purchased a long time ago, thanks to Robin at Knotting Hook Crochet constantly recommending it. I had never made them before because I always followed a free blog sea turtle pattern, but those come out very large. So I decided to bust out the Myrtle the Turtle pattern. and it's good. I like the size that they come out to be. These I'm listing as like my baby sea turtles, and then I have a few of the larger ones that I made. I do change the fins though, also thanks to a recommendation by Robin. At the end of the fin, once I'm done closing it, I chain one turn and then do 3 single crochets into the fin. So that way, not only is it easier for me to crochet into the round, but also I like the way that they look when they flop like that. Also, yes, I do put my fins with the curve facing backwards. I think that it looks more natural when they go back like this. But I know Robin has also said that she likes her curves to go backwards too. So, see, that's another thing that makes all crocheters unique. We all put our flippers a different way, even though we're all making the same exact pattern. But I wanted to use up a couple of my scraps, and this is a good pattern to use scraps on. Now, granted, you do need slightly larger scraps. I don't know how much yarn this took, but I was not able to, you can't use something that big, obviously. You needed a fair bit. And then some of them I did the shell color on the bottom if I had more scrap of the shell color. And then some of them I did the body color on the bottom if I had more of the body color versus the shell color. I did do 20mm safety eyes on all of my myrtles with different eye colors. So this is Burnout Blanket. This is Elise Voluto with green eyes. This is Caribbean in Basics Brights. This is Elise Voluto, the new variegated that I love, but I only had a little bit left, with some orange eyes. This is Sweet Snuggles Light in like the Bloom variant with blue eyes and the sage green color from Bernat. I found this skein of Bernat at Walmart and it was so soft, so I bought it. But then as I was working with it, I'm like, ooh, as we're getting toward the center of the skein, it's getting starchy. So it was misleading. I've never had that happen before. Usually I can touch a skein and be like, this is good or not. You can tell by the outside. But I've never had it change where it was good on the outside and then not good on the inside. So I made a couple of turtles with this just to get through this skein. It was nice at first, but unfortunately it slowly declined in quality. This is the next one that I made, the Bloom as well, but this is the pink variation with some pretty pink eyes. I do love this color green though. This is a beautiful sage green. We did this one with a solid green shell, and then this is Burnout Baby Blanket. I want to say it's called Sandy Tide, something like that, with some green eyes. I only had a little bit of this yarn left and I'm bummed. This I also found at Walmart, and this was one of the softest skeins of Bernat I have ever felt, and I'm bummed that I only bought one because now I'm out of it. This was the last of it. And I like having that color around because it's a nice neutral, but also it's good to have soft yarn. We like working with soft yarn. Speaking of soft yarn, this is also that Elise Voluto, the new variegated. This one I wouldn't really call variegated. I would call this more speckled. This one has pink eyes, and although it's kind of coming across as pink on the camera, the body of this turtle is actually the very inside of the purple Grande Ombre from Michaels. So it's a very soft lilac, but it does have a little bit of a pinky tone to it, especially next to those eyes. But this one's really pretty and sweet. This one I used Burnout frosting for the body and Burnout variegated for the shell, and this shell looks so cool. So I ended up doing another turtle with this same shell, but I did Elise Voluto teal on this. This one has purple eyes. This one has blue eyes. So many turtles, you guys. This is so out of character for me. I did this one in a scrap that I had of the tie-dye Flower Power, I believe this one is called. This one has pink eyes with a beautiful peach colored body. This is another peach colored body, but this one is a lighter peach. This one has green eyes with the Elise Voluto speckled shell. I need to get my paws on some more of that Elise speckled. I don't know what I was thinking, only buying one skein of each color, because you know, the Elise skeins are so small that it's like you can only use it on a small project because you're going to run out if you try to do anything of a decent size. So whenever you order Elise, I recommend ordering at least 2 skeins of each color. If you're interested, it takes about 3 skeins of Elise to equal 1 ball of Bernat in terms of gram yardage wise. So keep that in mind when you're ordering. If you're thinking you're going to get like a big ball of it, no. But good news is that it does equal about the same cost as Bernat. Of course, without coupons. Then we did this one. By we, I mean me and the voices in my head. This is also Flower Power with orange eyes and a bubblegum pink body by Chenille Basics Brights. Here we have another sage green turtle with brown eyes and this brown gray Bernat. No idea what it's called, but I do like the way that it works up in the shell. Here's another one of that Bernat pink blue. It looks very cloud-like, but I decided to do dark blue with this one, even though there's no dark blue on the shell. I think that they just complemented each other with some light pink eyes to bring in that shell color. And finally, the last turtle that I did was this one. I made that little Nyx the Dragon in this kaleidoscope, I think, question mark color, and I had a tiny bit left, so I decided to use it for the shell, but I just barely had enough. I actually had to shorten the shell around, shorten it by 1 round because I was losing yarn chicken and I wanted to make sure that I had enough to do the outer rim. So this shell is slightly smaller than the others, so that's why I did the underbelly in this teal. Also, I don't give any of them tails. No, that's not anatomically correct. Turtles have tails, but I don't give it to them, and it doesn't seem to stop people from wanting the turtle without a tail. I just pretend it's tucked under the shell. You know, you also don't see a turtle that is teal, purple, and pink shell with a bright teal body and magenta eyes, purple eyes. You don't see that anatomically in the wild anyways, so it's okay. So the next thing that I made was in honor of a new friend that I made. Interrupt this broadcast to bring you some footage of a possum that's hanging out outside the shed. I'm whispering so we don't scare him off. Let's see if we can get a video of him. Oh my gosh, it's so cute. Hi, little buddy. Are you enjoying the breeze on this fine spring evening? Oh, wait a second. I need to make some possums now in honor of him. It looks like his nose is dripping, doesn't it? Do possums' nose drip? Oh, his nose is dripping because he's scared. Okay, we'll leave you alone, little buddy. Thanks for the photo op. We'll leave some food out for you. Paisley is losing her mind inside right now, but also I just heard bats. It's freaking bats. I'm gonna set out some sliced bananas for him on a very classy Donato's pizza plate. It's like a possum charcuterie. We'll put it in front of the crotch. Oh my God, he's so cute. I'm gonna crochet you. Enjoy your charcuterie. He's looking at it. We need to name him. I'm gonna name him Frederick. So in honor of Frederick, I decided to crochet a possum. So this is a pattern that I purchased on Etsy. I want to say it's by Salt City Crochet or Salt City Creations. I'll link it for you. It was only $1. I know a lot of people really like using the QB Crochet mouse / possum. This one was only $1 and it works up a really good size. It does not include the modification for the possum, but it's quite easy to modify. Obviously, just do the face in white and then color change. I did do the ears a bit differently than it said to in the pattern because I tried following a free possum pattern first, and in that you make the ears separately and then crochet them in. So I had already made the ears, but then the possum was turning out like way too big for what I wanted, so I frogged it out and decided to do this one. But since I already had the ears made, I just crocheted them in instead of doing it the way that the pattern said to. But it is a no-sew pattern, which is nice. Also, I did not have any blush colored yarn in the house. I only had this meat color, as Sweet Beans Crochet calls it, this Burnout Mystical in the house. So I used it, and I think that it looks pretty good, honestly. I think that it looks cool on the nose. It almost looks like he's got a little piece of sunlight hitting his nose, which is kind of ironic since possums don't like the sun. That's why they come out at 1 o'clock in the morning when I am awake. But anyways, this turned out a really good size, and I would like to make a few more possums and then also, of course, make rat variants too. People love the rodents and the possums around where I live. Is that the same for you guys? Is it like a meme or something? Am I just not hip with it? But all the kids love rats and possums, and I don't know why. I mean, I understand why people love not rats. Why people love possums. Did you see Frederick? He's adorable. I love them. They are a little creepy when they open their mouth and their teeth are like, you know, but with their little snoots closed, they're adorable. So we need to make some more possums. This did not take me very long either. I didn't time it, but I would say 25 minutes, 30 minutes maybe. Honestly, I feel like the longest part is the tail, crocheting in like 3 or 4 single crochets around, and I could have made the tail a little bit longer, but that's okay. It's good. Wow, he could really hurt somebody with that thing. So the next few things that I made are actually for a very special reason. Last week, I told you guys that we are going on a family vacation on a cruise, and I want to do 2 things while we're on that cruise. I'll be taking you along with me to film a vlog for Crochet at Sea, which will be a lot of fun. But the first thing that I wanted to do is start a wearable to work on the ship so that I could still like crochet with you guys like I do in my normal vlogs. But I wanted something that I wouldn't have to bring a ton of different colors with me because it's a small cabin and we didn't want to pay for luggage. So we're only bringing 2 carry-ons for 3 of us. So I don't have a ton of room in my suitcases to work with. So I didn't want to have to bring a ton of plush yarn that took up a lot of room, stuffing, safety eyes, all that. I was like, you know what? Let's crochet a wearable, which normally I don't like doing. I'll do them for my baby because I'll do anything for her. But for me, I have never made myself anything to wear in terms of crochet. I've like sewed myself stuff before. Sorry, it's over here. I gotta grab it. So I picked a pattern that I'm not going to show you guys yet. I will showcase the pattern in that cruise vlog, but I wanted to get a head start on it because my goal is to finish this wearable on the cruise. And with how slow I crochet with flat crochet, I knew that there was no way I was going to be able to, in a 4-day cruise where we're actually like having a vacation, going to be able to crochet an entire wearable. So I wanted to get a head start on it and then just finish it while we're away. So I started it, and I actually had to do this twice. So this was the first yarn that I picked for it, and it's a beautiful green. It's called Irish Rain, I believe. I got it at Hobby Lobby. It's a DK weight yarn, which is what the pattern said it works up best in. So I went with this, and I I picked green because Ryan says that green is like my best. People always tell me that blue is my best color, but Ryan says green is because it goes well with my eyes and my hair. So he recommended that I use green, so we picked this color together. But I was crocheting with it, and this is as far as I got. This took me 2 hours to do this swatch, you guys. That's how slow I crochet with a flat crochet. These are half doubles. And I want it to be more of a sweater, like a light sweater for like spring or fall time. And I don't know, it is very soft worked up, but I'm like, it just doesn't look like a sweater. Like it's just too thin. So I decided to scrap this 2 hours of work, and I had bought 6 skeins of this yarn, so I have to return all of it. So we even went out of our way to go to 2 different Hobby Lobbies so that I could get all of it, because they only had 3 in stock at one store. And I wanted to make sure I had enough, because the last thing that I want is to be thousands of miles away in the middle of the ocean and run out of yarn and not be able to finish my stuff. So I wanted to make sure that I had enough. So I decided to place an order on Amazon for a yarn that I actually used on Celeste's sweater. Both her sweaters, actually, her strawberry sweater and her little pom-pom sweater. This is the Caron Colorama Halo yarn, and I love it. It works up so nice, so fast, and the amount of time that it took me to do just that swatch, I got like this far with this yarn. So you guys, this is big for me. This is the farthest I have ever gotten in an adult crochet wearable project. I know that it just looks like a weird little crop vest right now, but this is only the beginning, my friends. I still have many hours of work ahead of me on this one, but I love the way that this works up. Probably not great if you're a beginner crocheter, which I feel like most of you watching probably aren't, but it's very slippery, and it also has a little bit of spandex in it, I think, so it's ever so slightly stretchy. But it's very nice to work with. It glides so nice on my tulip hooks, and it works up really, really fast. And I just love the way that the stitches look. Like, okay, look, let me show you the difference. So this one, it looks more like traditional crochet. Like it looks like holey, and I don't know, it just looks like regular crochet. But something about this one, it could be the white color. It looks more like lace. I don't know. Is that all in my head? I don't know. But it also has a little bit of fuzz to it, as you can see. So silky soft. It feels like cashmere. This just looks a lot more like a sweater to me than this does, right? And I do really love this color yarn. I wish that they had this color in the Colorama. I was debating for a long time what color I wanted to do for this sweater, because Ryan's like, you have to do green. So I was looking for Colorama Halo in green, and the only other colors outside of this cream white, they call it white, but it's more of cream color that they have, they're all either like ombre gradient or they're striped. And with me not being super familiar with how to crochet wearables, I did not want to have to deal with like the ombre and then having to, on top of following a pattern that is like a foreign language to me in terms of crochet, on top of that, figure out to make sure like all of the phasing was landing correctly and the sleeves and everything. Like, I just didn't want to deal. So we went with just the kind of boring white. But I do think that when this is done, you know, white goes with everything. Cream goes with everything. This is going to be like a classy something that I can throw on, and it's going to be really cool, and I'm excited for you guys to see the rest of it. But on top of the 65 plushies that I made this week, I also got this far in my wearable, which I am very happy about. Also, look at how straight these edges are. If you know me, you know that I suck at crocheting straight lines, and I am so proud of myself, and I can only chalk it up to the fact that this yarn is very easy to see. So there's that. You will see an update on this very soon. But that was the first thing that I wanted to do for the cruise. The second thing that I wanted to do for the cruise is to make some rubber ducks to hide around the ship for strangers to find. And it's so funny because last week I said that I had something special planned, and one of you were like, you should make rubber ducks and hide them. And I was like, are you reading my mind? That's creepy. But I decided to do rubber ducks, number one, because they're fast. Also, they're small, so they're not going to be super cumbersome in my suitcase. But also, I feel like they're fitting. I was thinking about doing a fish because of the location that we're going to. It would make sense. But we landed on the rubber duck, and then I very low budgetly printed out these little cards for them on cardstock on my printer that says, "Lucky duck, congrats, you found a tiny souvenir from the sea. Keep it or rehide it for someone new. Snap a pic and tag me on Instagram with a QR code leading to my Instagram account." And then I also put the cruise line dates and location on the bottom, so that this would be like a souvenir keepsake. So Ryan actually made this duck. Look at how much tighter his tension is than mine. I made this one. Ryan made this one. This is Naughty Pony yarn. Perfect color yellow, super bright, sunshine, vibrant yellow. So we did two, but unfortunately I ran out of yarn. So then I pulled out my Naughty Pony in blue, and I made some blue ducks. Now I did freehand these, but there is a duck-free rubber duck. It's always funny to me calling them rubber ducks because they're not made out of rubber. So on my market signs, I say in parentheses, not rubber ducks. But there is a free pattern on Instagram. Actually, there's a couple that you could follow. But I ended up doing... Oh, Ryan and Celeste are here. Hang on. Say hi.
Hi.
Hi. She sounds southern. Howdy, yo. What does a duck say?
Quack.
Yep. Quack, quack. Good job. Okay, you're going to go night-night. Can you say bye-bye?
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Can you say like and subscribe?
I don't know if you heard Ryan, but he just said, can you say like and subscribe? I think that's a little advanced for her. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Speaking of Celeste's sweater, she was wearing the bobble stitch sweater that I made for her. Okay, what was I talking about before we were interrupted? Oh yeah, the ducks. This one I did embroidered eyes on. And they're giant and they look ridiculous. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 8 total ducks. And I think that that's a good amount. I mean, it's only a 4-day cruise. And again, I don't want to take up too much space in the suitcase. So I think that that's a good amount. Although I do need to put all of the little tags on these because I think I printed 10. So we should be good there. Okay, then the last crochet thing that I have to show you before showing you all of my eyes is a pattern that I have done before. This is by Holly's Yarn Creations. This is a circus cat. I made one of these before, also in black, and the last time I made it, I let you guys decide what colors I used. I put up on the community tab here on YouTube voting, so every day I would say, like, you don't know what I'm making, but what color do you vote I should use? And it ended up turning out really good. And speaking of which, we're doing that again. Next week, I will be showing you something that I'm crocheting this week. That is all colors that you guys chose, even down to the eyes you guys are going to choose for me. So I have those up. Those polls are up on the community tab. It's not too late to go vote if you have not voted on those yet. I'm going to make it, I don't know, probably later this week. So there's plenty of time for you to go vote and decide what colors you think I should use. Are you going to be nice to me and make all the colors go well together? Or are you guys going to be mean to me? That's fine. I'm up for it, for a challenge. I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't want to. I trust your guys' opinion. But on this one, I got to choose the colors, and I decided, since we're going into summer, I wanted to do a super fun Malibu Barbie style color scheme. So I did bright orange, hot pink and teal. And I figured that on the black cat, it would really pop well. I did a black cat the last time too, and I think that the last one, like the face was cuter on the... One of you guys bought the last clown cat. Ash, do you have clown cat? I think it was you who bought the last one. But this one I did also in black because I wanted the colors to really like be showcased. I painted these eyes in hot pink with some flashes of green in there. I gave it a safety nose, which normally I don't give my plushies safety noses, but I found these in my stash and I forgot that I had these big ones. So we put that on there. And then also just for a little razzle dazzle, I super glued some little flower, what do you call these, rhinestones? Flower rhinestones, kind of like his little eyebrows. I did sew the head on crooked. That was on accident, but I do kind of like the way that he looks because then you really get to see the full outfit. This is a really easy pattern to follow, in my opinion. It is a snuggler, so his body is not stuffed. My proportions on my clown cat are a little bit off though, because I did lose yarn chicken on the pink. And if you can see up here, I had to switch back to the Caribbean blue. So I had to short around on the pink, hoping and praying that I would have enough to finish the body. Even with taking out around, I still did not have enough. And now his body looks a little short, but it's okay. I mean, he's a fictional clown cat, but I love the way that these colors look, specifically in the hat. How fun is that hat? The only thing that I don't love about this pattern is I don't really like the way that the ears are shaped. They're a little bit too long and narrow for my personal taste. So if I make this clown cat again, which I might, I've made it twice now and I liked them both. I'm probably just going to alter the ears so that they're a little bit wider and shorter, more cutesy. I think that maybe the pattern designer was going for more menacing. I don't know. I don't know. I don't think that's the case because her listing photos are adorable. She did a white cat with like a pink lemonade color scheme body with pink and yellow. And she also did like giant felt cheeks. So cute. Holly's patterns are very reasonably priced and I've liked every single one that I've done. So I do recommend her shop. But this is my little clown kitty. Clown kitty, not a clown clitty. Anywho, okay, so that was everything that I crocheted this week. Whew, okay, let me fly through showing you guys these safety eyes, because look at this tray that I have to show you. All of these are individual, like, by individual, I mean like they're all different. I've made multiples of these because like I mentioned, I don't know that we're going to be able to do a drop next month. So a lot of these that I did are spring and summer themed, like these ocean eyes. Lots of just fun, summery, spring vibe eyes. And hopefully I'll have a couple to drop next month, but no guarantees. I made between 3 and 5 pairs of each of these that I'm about to show you. They are all available for sale on www.thecelestialhomebody.com under the safety eyes section. These are some of my favorites that I've ever made. These are Starry Night. So they are blue with a little bit of sparkle and some moons and stars in them. These are 35 millimeters, but I also made these in 30s. A few weeks ago, I showed you guys the Sylveon that I had made with the custom eyes with the butterflies. And so many of you guys were like, I love those. And in the vlog, I said, I don't know that I'm ever gonna make these for a drop because they're so much work. But I decided to do a modified version. So I did these little pastel butterflies with this pink purple color shift glitter in the back. These have resin on top of them, so they, like the stickers aren't going to come off. I tried my very best to get the bubbles out, and I think for the most part they are good, but I you guys know with the pastels, I'm a sucker for the pastels. So of course these are gonna be some of my favorites, but I made these only in 30 millimeters. I made these inspired by recently watching the new season of Bridgerton. Any Bridgerton fans out there? I was thinking, side note, I was thinking for one day at Comic-Con and or PopCon, if I got like a Regency dress, I could cosplay as Penelope because that would be a fairly easy cosplay. I've contemplated being in full cosplay when I'm vending, but you guys know vending, it gets you hot and sweaty. And just like moving constantly, and like I don't want to have to be in a wig on top of that. So I would, if I'm going to cosplay, I want to do something that I can just, you know, just throw on and it be nonchalant. If I can get a Regency dress, I feel like I could do cosplay Penelope and some nice long satin gloves. That might get hot though. I don't know, we'll see. But these are called Regency eyes. These are Bridgerton blue, as I call it, with gold foil in them. I made these in 30 millimeters and 25 millimeters. Then we have, these are really cool. These are a color shifting. These are called dragon eyes. And from the front, they're this really beautiful teal. And then from the side / bottom, they are purple. So these are great for dragons. Teal, purple. There's also some flashes of green in there as well. I made these in 20s, 25, and 30 millimeters. Next, okay, so these I showed you guys a little sneak peek of. A few weeks ago, I made that flower baby with these eyes that I'm calling Funfetti. These are a pastel rainbow, and I know some of you guys were excited to get these eyes, but they're called Funfetti because there's speckles of every color of the rainbow in there, but they're all pastel colors. I made these in 20s, 25s, and 30s. Did I make any 35s? No. 30s is my biggest in these. Also, if you're wondering what the backs look like, they're all different. Well, this one, the back fell out, but this is the back. Hang on, are there backs on these? Yeah. These are the backs on the 30s. Here's another color shifting one. So because of the summer vibes, I wanted to do some fruit themed eyes. So these I'm calling watermelon sugar. So from the front, they are mostly green, like lime green, but then from the side, they shift to like a hot pink red, almost purple in some lights. Those are fun. Watermelon sugar, hi. Watermelon sugar high. Can anybody else not stand that song? I feel like they play every other song that they play on the radio is freaking watermelon sugar, and I'm so sick of it. But then here I am going and naming an eye style after it. What can I say? I love Harry. So the next couple that I did, along with the fruit theme, are the fruit collection. So first I did these hot pink with kiwis. They are hot pink sparkly. I only made 2 of each of these eyes, just FYI. They're all 30 millimeter. I did this one. This one might be my favorite behind the watermelons, but this is a beautiful, maybe a turquoisey blue. It's not like true turquoise, but it's definitely not true blue, with lemons. I think these are my favorite, actually. These are watermelons with neon yellow sparkle. And then we have strawberries with green sparkle behind them. And along with the strawberry theme, these I'm calling strawberry shortcake. And these are strawberry slices with this pastel background that's like pink and white. I don't know. I love strawberry shortcake growing up, so we had to do one to represent the shortcake. Okay, so this past month, a few weeks ago, I watched the Hannah Montana reunion special. A little disappointed in it, but don't get me wrong, I sobbed like a baby. It was amazing. Very nostalgic. So in honor of the Hannah Montana 20th anniversary, which, yowza, I feel very old, I decided to do a pair of eyes that was inspired by one of my favorite Hannah songs, and that is Butterfly Fly Away. So these are purple eyes with little blue butterflies in them. It's from the Hannah Montana movie, by the way. Caterpillar in the tree, how you wonder who you'll be. You guys know the song. It's a great song. It's so good. It's up there with The Climb, but The Climb gets a lot more publicity than the Butterfly song does. Then I decided, so recently we saw Wicked Part 2. Well, we saw it in theaters a few months ago, but one of my favorite costumes of all time in all media is Glinda's dress in Wicked Part 2. Oh my goodness. If I were to make a cosplay, I would make that Glinda dress. It is just so beautiful. The beading, the colors, the way that it kind of like color shifts as she moves. Chef kiss. Stunning. But I wanted to make a collection of eyes, or a set of eyes that was inspired by that dress. So this is what we did. So the lighting is not great because the sun went down. So these are mainly white, but they have flecks of purple, blue, and pink in them to represent that beading in her dress, because her like underskirts and her corset has pink, blue, and purple. So these eyes I'm calling the girl in the bubble, and these I did in 20s, 25s, and 30s. And I'm keeping a pair of these for myself for sure. Then, because it's springtime, we did a Sakura set of eyes. So this is pink sparkles with little cherry blossoms in there. Sakura. I don't know what you put the emphasis on. I should ask Ryan because he speaks Japanese. Sakura? I think that's how you say it. As a Japanese speaker, which I am not. But anyways, cherry blossoms, as we would call them here in the US. It's about cherry blossom season in Japan, and one day, it is on my bucket list. I would love to go to Japan during cherry blossom season. I should probably maybe learn a little bit Japanese and not rely solely on Ryan. These are a little bit out of character for me because normally I don't do spooky eyes, but I only made 2 sets of these. These I'm calling Bloodshot, but I wanted to try a new technique that I've never done before with mixing mica powder and glitter. So these have white little tendrils coming out of the pupil, and then there is red glitter behind them. And I think that it's cool. I might use this, how I made these in the future for a different color combo. But these definitely look a little scary. But that's why they're called Bloodshot. Oh, the backs came off of these. But here's what the backs look like on the 30s. I popped them on, not even like all the way. I just kind of set them on the backs so that they stay most of the time in place. Sometimes the backs pop off in shipping, but... okay, then I told you guys I had a lot. Then I did this set. This is, I always like to offer greens because greens are, I feel like for me anyway, some of the most used colored eyes, especially if you're doing like Night Fury, you know, or whatever. So this is Pixie Dust, and this is a really beautiful green opalescent shimmer sparkle, so you get some refractions of different colors in there as well, but it's mainly green. Maybe it's because green is like a regular eye color for like human people. So even if you're making dolls, you could use these on there. They work both for fantasy creatures as well as like realistic creatures. And I think that's why I really personally like having green eyes around all the time. Speaking of green eyes, this is a style that I am bringing back that I've done before one time. And, oh, sorry, it just fell on the mic. This is Mossy Pond. So I'm offering these in white pupil and black pupil. I personally like the white pupil with the Mossy Pond, but these are kind of inspired by that Ophelia painting, you know, the one that Taylor Swift based her album on, The Life of a Showgirl on. But this is like the exact color of the water in that painting, which, by the way, very sad story why that painting was made. If you don't know the story of Ophelia, it's sad, but you can look into it if you want to. But this is made to look like a mossy pond, moss on top of the water. And I think it's really beautiful. I did this by mixing glitter and mica powder. So oh my gosh, I just dropped a set. No scratches, we're good. We're good. So I was not around in the 80s. I was not even a forethought in the 1980s, but I think of it fondly, maybe because of media, you know, like Stranger Things and everything. Like, there's a lot of media that's set in the 80s, and my mom talks constantly about the 80s. Any function that we go to, my mom's going to be busting out facts about the 80s, about what she wore, about what her hair looked like, about her Aquanet hairspray, about the fact that she threw a rifle in marching band. It's going to come out. So the culture that I grew up in my family was very much so like, we love the 80s. It's the best generation, even though I was not even around. I love it. So I decided to do this kind of fun collection. I keep saying collection, set of eyes in various sizes that are inspired by the 1980s. And I'm calling these 80s Babe. And these are a swirl of purple and teal because in my mind, everything in the 80s was either purple or teal or hot pink. There is no other color that you guys wore in the 80s besides those colors. And also the little holographic triangles, like, it reminds me of like the floor at a roller rink. And that's what I was going for with these eyes. And I think that we nailed it. So these I have in 25s and 30s, but I only made 2 sets of each because this is kind of a niche set of eyes. I don't know if they're going to sell, but I like them. I think that they're a ton of fun. Also, I'm losing my voice from talking so much. What else is new? Almost done. 2 more sets to show you. So this set is also one of my favorites that I have ever done, and it doesn't photograph super well, so hopefully it'll come up on camera. But these I have called Mermaid's Pearls. And these eyes I'm offering in both black pupil and white pupil, and they are a holographic white background in the glitter, but then on top there are little pastel stickers that I covered in resin, of course, that are of like jellyfish and starfish and clam shells, and some of them have 3-dimensional pearls on them. And I just think that these are so beautiful, but the pictures do not do these justice. You got to see these in person. I made a couple sets in 30s and 35s in black and white pupil. I personally prefer the white pupil. I just think with these pastel colors, it just really looks beautiful. But of course, the blacks are classic too. You can't go wrong with the black pupil. Then finally, the last set of eyes that I have to show you is a very special one. Now, I only made 4 sets of these for right now, but I plan on making more in the future. These are for autism awareness. So they have a white backing with these beautiful little holographic rainbow puzzle pieces to represent autism awareness. If you did not know this about me, one of my college degrees is in special education. So I love all kids, but definitely those who have special abilities, I hold a special place in my heart for them. So all of the proceeds from the sale of these eyes, which is not going to be much because I only made 4 sets, but I'm going to be donating to the Autism Foundation, and we're going to do more of these in the future. I like the idea of every month having a special charity to donate to with eyes and doing a few sets and then donating, you know, the money from those. In October, we'll definitely do a baby loss one, since you guys know that also I hold a special place in my heart for baby loss. So we'll do like a cute pink and blue set for that. But for right now, we've got these puzzle pieces. I found this puzzle piece glitter at Hobby Lobby, and the second I saw it, I was like, we're going to do autism awareness. So that is the last set of eyes that I have to show you guys. So run over to the website and pick some up if you're interested. And of course, if you don't want to buy eyes and you just watch this part of the video for some inspiration, then thank you for sticking around. I am so glad that you did. And this has been a very, very long episode of this week's Makes. But to be fair, in the future, we might not be getting as long as episodes because I'm not going to have as much time to crochet. So I need to go take a shower, unwind a little bit, and then get to bed, since I need to wake up bright and early tomorrow in the 7 o'clock hour, which is... no, that's normally like my bedtime. Well, thank you all so much for hanging out with me on today's episode of this week's Makes. Of course, an endless thanks to our members in the Cosmic Couch Club. You guys keep this little galaxy spinning. Thank you for also sitting through my little tangent rant there. Anyways, have a great week, everybody, and I hope to see you on the next one. Bye-bye.